Hello, everyone, and welcome to another entrepreneurship series. Today, we're with Melissa Farrell, who has created an amazing company after our entrepreneurship program. Her story is a little unique because she already had a tour company that she started with a business partner, but with COVID, things have kind of had a halt on that because it was a very heavy on international. So she took our entrepreneurship program and decided to just go local with Going Local Tours and Experiences. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Alan. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. So excited about your business. I mean, literally, you worked so hard with First Crush, and then you had to pivot, which you did beautifully. And so you created local things because that's really what we talk about. Local right now is kind of the way to go. Do you want to tell me a little bit about your journey?
Yes, absolutely. So for me, I spoke in your entrepreneur class about 6 months ago with First Crush. And while I was listening to everybody talk in the class, it really dawned on me how helpful it would be for me to have that if I build my own business. So a few months later, I started thinking about the local businesses in my town and things started shutting down all over the place. And it really started to hurt my heart. So I was driving home from work one day and I was basically like leading a tour in my head almost as I was driving, like how I would do it in Huntington. And as I was driving, I was realizing it started all clicking together that I could create these amazing experiences in Huntington, where I grew up and I work still now, which is the trendiest downtown on Long Island and has about 40 restaurants within like a mile walking distance. It's a bar town, it's a family town, it's everybody's town. So I'm like, how come no one's done this before? So I ended up doing some research, found a guy who did a tour called Food Done It, which is actually a murder mystery all on your cell phone, which I thought was kind of cool, but there's no guide involved. So there was a market, which is fantastic. But it also helped me realize that what I'm going to offer, no one else has even tapped into yet in this area. So I was like, jackpot. So I ended up doing a community page on Facebook. That was my first step in starting the business. I thought it was fantastic. I started going local in Huntington. And by doing that, every single day I showcase a local business or a shop and people get to post on there about their businesses. I've made business connections. I've made new friends that I go to dinner with every week now. And I met business owners personally that are on my tour now that I know as friends that are much easier to work with than trying to work with someone you can't get in contact with, like a manager or an owner. So since December 25th, today is March something, I think 9th, I ended up starting the business, built a website myself, ended up doing my own YouTube channel. And now I'm about to launch in about 2 weeks. And I have 3 tours I built and designed, and I'm hoping are going to take off. We shall see.
Well, I love your concept. I mean, we talk about the holy trinity of three to start with, and I think that you did a great job in curating your first three. I mean, obviously they're food focused. You have a sweet one, you have one that's regular, and then you have one of my favorites that I want to take is that brunch bloodies and brews tour. What inspired you for that? I mean, I know you are a bartender at heart, as I was for many, many years. Did that kind of add some influence for you to create that?
It did. For me, I always know Sunday Fun Day is a big thing anywhere I go. I love Sunday Fun Day. And where I work at Finley's in Huntington Village, I've been there 22 years. They have this amazing backdoor area, outside area rather. And the outside has about 3 different decks. And this lower deck is very underutilized. So I talked to the manager and the owner, and they're like, yeah, I have that area every Sunday if you want it. I was like, seriously? There's a bar right there. They're going to give me an amazing package deal for 2 Bloody Marys or 2 mimosas or 2 beers and brunch for like $20 a person, which is like amazing. And on top of it all, I'm going to do a pub quiz while we're there about the local businesses. So as we walk from Finley's down to Six Harbors Brewing Company, where our brew tasting will be, we're going to pass local business on the way. I'm going to point out what we talked about. There'll be a prize for the winner. And when we get to Six Harbors, it's a family-owned local brewery that opened about 2 years ago. And they have these dogs called the Brew Dogs, and they're famous right now. They're on Kelly Clarkson last week. They won an award with like pedigree. During COVID, they couldn't deliver beer, obviously, like contact for like hand to hand. So they sent the dogs out in the car, and the dog would walk up to the house with the brews and give the people the delivery. So this brewery has become kind of famous, but in our town, they don't really want tour groups there, but they're going to let my group come there and reserve a table for me every single Sunday. And they're going to
Well, of course. Of
exactly.
course. I mean, Melissa, come on.
They have beer tasting. It's like,
With you, no doubt. I mean, come on, I could just totally see you because you were just such a great personality. I'm sure they were probably like, yeah, we don't want tour groups. And they met you when they were like, oh, but we want your tour group.
you're fun. Yeah, you can come. I had to
Yeah, anyone that goes with you is our kind of people, so bring them.
I'm excited. I did a little practice run about a month ago with some girlfriends of mine, and we did it, just did a little bit of brunch, walked down there, did the beer tour, and all of them were like, this is so much fun. I'm like, I haven't done any commentary. I didn't do anything else. I just brought them on the experiences, and they were like, this is great. So I figure while we're there too, we'll do a full beer tasting of like 4 or 5 of their beers, go through the whole process of tasting it, talk with the owner, learn the process, meet the brew dogs, and have them kind of really get attached to this local business. My whole point is to connect everybody to their taste and their tales. So when they leave there, they're like, oh, I'm at Market 6 Harbors. I'm going there next Saturday. I can't wait to go back. That's what I'm really hoping for with this business. It's for me, but it's also for my town and my local businesses around me. I love them all. I think they're such great people. I know so many more now because my community page, it's amazing how much they want to reach out and help. And something else that I actually started to do, and I think is fantastic for our town. I've had this idea for a while. I saw it in Georgia, in Decatur, and Atlanta as well. They do this thing called either fairy doors or tiny doors. So I want to do the hidden doors of Huntington, and we're going to have local artists from the Huntington Art Council come. And they're going to design all the doors to local businesses. We're going to put them up all over the town. We're going to do a scavenger hunt for families and just to bring local business awareness and make this a viral thing for Huntington. And hopefully it goes on my website.
I love that, you know, you've tapped into the locals so quick and so easily and so easy. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs are intimidated to do that, but it's key. I mean, here you are, a brand new business. You did your research the way we tell you to do. Yep. You figured out, listen, I don't have a lot of competition or no competition. You walked into these places, you talked to them, you noticed they had an outdoor deck that wasn't being utilized. Yep. You went to these people that nobody else goes to, convinced them to let your group come in there, and you created this. Which is incredible. And I think the first lesson is don't be afraid. Yeah. You've got to just get out there and you have to ask the question. The worst somebody can say is no. Yep. And at the best, look at you. They said, absolutely, come on in. Yeah. The second thing I love is the fact that you've tapped into that local market, but in a massive way. I mean, not only are you featuring these businesses on your tours, but in your YouTube channel, which by the way, I was blown away by, you're going in there and you're filming these businesses and talking about it. And your whole name of your company, Going Local Tours and Experiences, says it all. And I love that even in the keywording on your YouTube, when you describe it, you have Going Local in Huntington, Going Local at Soul Brew in Huntington, New York. When people Google or search on YouTube for that brewery, that video could come up. And that's what I'm going to look for if I want to visit your area or that area. And I'm going to want to see a video like this. So, I mean, kudos to you. Thanks. That is amazing to build that kind of base.
I appreciate that. Well, I learned it from watching you guys. I saw your YouTube. Well, honestly, the whole branding YouTube channel too. I didn't do it my last channel. I noticed that with the branding underneath, every video you could tell is a Going Local video. You know it. You see it automatically. And I see your TripSchool page constantly. It's always so clear and organized. You know where everything is. And that was inspiration to me as well. I'm like, this will be so much easier if I just brand it all properly from the beginning and do it all that way. But yeah, YouTube is something that people get scared of that as well. But it's really, I mean, just put it out there. If it sucks, take it down. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of my thing. Put it out there, see what happens. And you're always going to critique yourself over and over again, but just make it good enough and just put it out there. People are excited to see something, especially nowadays.
Yeah, I'm doing a whole class on YouTube coming up. I do it as part of my video editing for business class, but I'm going to break it up and just do a separate YouTube just because it is intimidating for people. And I think the biggest letdown is people think that, oh, I'm going to go through the trouble of making a video, editing it, filming it, putting it on YouTube, and then waiting. And then they just sit there and they just go, And they're waiting for a million views. Yep. And that's not the way it works. It's about the content, and you have to have content. And you don't have to have a big budget or a big camera or a big production crew to have content. I mean, we're tour directors and tour guides and tour operators. I mean, we're the most creative people, I think, out there for this kind of thing. And so if we can come up with content to talk about, that should not be, it amazes me that tour guides have no problem talking on and on and on and on site on tour. But when you put them in front of a camera and ask them to talk, they're like, they don't know what to say.
What do we do? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
what I learned too, though, with the YouTube especially, I haven't launched my videos yet. I actually haven't put anything out there except for one time. I wanted to kind of my business get up and then use them for marketing. But there was a Facebook page on my community page about Huntington, and someone was trash talking my Cappuccino's place, which is on one of my tours. It's a cat cafe. They were like, what goes on in their cats just like walk around and stuff? And I'm like, no, it's an amazing business. So I took my video and I put it on there a couple times, and I got 60 hits out of it just from that. And I noticed I got hits to the website from that as well. So it's that whole, make sure you can plug it at the right time in the right place, and you'll get a really good feedback from it. Now people have gone there and seen that there's not just cats running around rampant. They are in their own room, and it's a great place to go visit and actually support. But yeah, it's amazing to me how YouTube can really filter you business in different ways and kind of showcase who you are. And the community page that I run, especially with local businesses, that's how I got in with a lot of them so fast, was because I built this brand around this going local in Huntington community page. And I kept putting out businesses, and people I reached out to would see it and they're like, oh my God, thanks for the shout out. And we'd message, DM, become friends. And it was great. And I wasn't looking for anything from them. I was just trying to give them credit and shout out. And they're like, hey, you seem cool. I'm like, I am cool. Let's hang out. And then it became fun. But it works out that way. I kind of hid behind the community page about a month or so before I went out to businesses and started actually going into places. And I did get turned down at one place, and it's the place that has this amazing ghost story that I don't need them to tell the story. I don't need you. And I told them that the email, I go, listen, I was just being courteous, wanted to give you like a chance to like talk to my guest and whatever. No problem. Give me my freaking cannolis. I'm telling the story and I'm out of there. But I still want to tell the story, so I'm going to go to the business. Yeah. But I only got one no out of about 30 places. So that was really helpful because they want the business right now, especially local places.
Everybody wants to participate. I mean, they should, as a business owner, should want to participate in something. And it's kind of crazy to feel scared or intimidated. Like maybe I don't want to go in there and I don't want to get a no. Don't be afraid of a no. I mean, a no is nothing. And then, but the yes is so much more. And I think that, you know, back to kind of the YouTube thing, as trends are changing and as things are going, like we have YouTube Shorts coming out now, which I've been playing with quite a bit. There's definitely a chance now for people like yourself who are just starting out to get a lot of likes by creating some maybe unique short. I mean, these are like short 60-second. They say 15, 20. They say 15, 20 seconds is best. But these are the chance for you to go out there, just talk to locals and maybe just like kind of do like a quick fun, you know, 30-second. If you can't come up with a huge video for YouTube because you can't think what to say, go to YouTube Shorts, create something for like 20, 30 seconds, talking to a local saying, hey guys, look at me. This is the beer you get at Brewing Company, blah, 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 blah. Drink it, chug, 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 edit it really cool. And guess what? That might go viral, at least on the shorts. And then that's TikTok a lead into your channel. And you just have to think outside the box and be creative. So don't be intimidated by YouTube, anybody out there. Just go for it. Melissa did. She's creating her content. It's slow. It's a process. I mean, it's not something that just happens. You have to build it. But it's I think you're on the right track, especially since you're just now launching. And let's talk about that. So your first thing you're going to launch, what is your plan? What is your marketing plan? What is your idea behind getting people to take your tours?
All right. So my question was, in my own mind, my first tour starts April 27th. And I did that because I wanted to do it right when the weather gets nice around here. It's not going to be cold. It's going to be just about the niceness. And it's right before Mother's Day. So I can do that week of tours and then have a week of kind of a little bit off to figure out what I screwed up to do it over again the next week better. But I figured once I launched my business, I wanted to launch in the beginning of March, but I figured that was kind of too early because I know in Huntington and in New York, we like things fast. We want them now. So if I put a company out, let's say today, and can't do a tour till end of April, they're going to forget about it by that time, I feel like. So in my mind, I'm going to launch right around my birthday, which is March 29th, which is about a month beforehand. And I don't know how algorithms work properly on Facebook, but I know I'll get a lot of attention on my birthday on my page. So hopefully I can use that as my first little, hey, everybody, come look at business page. But as far as selling my tours, getting out there, I'm going to offer my community that's been following me for the last however many months. I have about 400 in there right now, a discount to book in the first month. Hopefully that books it up. I have reached out to the Huntington Chamber of Commerce, actually a page that supported this Christmas tree in our town. They have about 11,000 followers. They're going to blast the business for me once I do it. They're all about Huntington locals. And they also do a YouTube channel as well. And they have a meeting every month with Chamber of Commerce that blasts new business. I'll be interviewed for that as well. And then I have the three papers I know, Newsday, The Patch, and The Long Islander, and News 12 will all cover the story once I have it all kind of up and running. They're all about the local businesses and stuff like that. So I figured I'll feed the news channels, I'll feed my social media, feed my community page. And then once that all kind of runs out and taps out, I'll start doing Facebook ads. And that's my next step. I'm trying to do it all for free right now to see what I can reach, because it is a very local community. I have a really good base already. And then I'm sure I have people sharing my community constantly. So I think once I post this, I'll get a ton of shares, and hopefully that'll be able to want to come do this. And I think I've created a product that's fun that they're going to want to come do.
Well, you create a product that even locals will want to do. And I think that's the key there. And I think, offering a few of these like free spots to locals, because what happens is then they have people coming to visit them from the city, or relatives coming and visit, and then they're going to be like, oh, I know what a guaranteed good time is. It's this tour with Melissa, right? Yeah. So I see on your website you do private groups and all that great stuff. So this is a way for you to generate that. And also, I mean, listen, there is something to be said for the bachelorette type thing. There's something to be said for all of that local market that wants to go and experience these things. So you're going about it the right way. When you launch, is there anything that you're maybe nervous about? What, I guess, what's your biggest anxiety on your first sort of out of the gate tours?
I think for me right now, my pricing is not locked up all the way yet. So I don't want to launch until I know my pricing is exactly where I want it to be. Right now, I'm guesstimating from what I've gotten what they're telling me they're going to offer me. I haven't figured out my contracts that are not completed yet. So I want to wait till that's done. That's my biggest anxiety, is the pricing right now. But I think after that, I feel like I've been doing it in my head for so long. Like I have my commentary, I know what I'm saying, where I'm saying it, where they're going to stand, how they're going to stand, what happens at the rating, where's the bathroom. As a tour guide, as a tour director, you know all those things. So I think the launch for me is really just, actually, I'm excited about the law. I'm not nervous. I'm excited to put, I'm ready to put it out there. I'm like, world, look what I've done. I created
Yeah,
this.
you're not a shy person.
No,
So
I'm like, bring it on. Come on down. We'll have a good time. Like, that's kind of how I roll.
I mean,
But yeah,
have you thought about just doing like maybe, I mean, so you're not out of pocket a lot. I mean, what you could do is you could even just do a test run with friends at cost and just let
so I'm
them
doing that
know.
week beforehand. Yeah, week before
Yeah.
my tours go off, I have a Tuesday, Sunday, and Saturday tour with a family, friends that want to go out and drink, and then 2 couples. So I kind of have my profiles in each group, and I'm going to run with them and see how it is. And I said, I'll give it to you at all costs, but just give me a good review, please, on paper, but tell me what was wrong in person.
Yeah, and I mean that also helps because I mean that's a chance for you to build up those photos for Instagram, because I think this is definitely an Instagram sort of thing. So it gives you a chance to build up those photos for Instagram, maybe create some Insta stories. Think about it in terms of long term. You got to think about those, like not just like what I'm gonna post out of this tour today, but how can I create some Insta stories or videos or even YouTube shorts? How can I get that stuff for the future as well? Things that I can add down the road, because you want to have that content. A lot of, I think, tour operators forget the fact that you have to plan your social media. It's not something you can't be really, unless you're on the road every single day, that it's hard to be spontaneous. We have to take what we have when we have it, especially in these times. So you got to make a plan for that. And I think just kind of mapping that out would be a big plus.
So what I've done is on Tuesday nights, I'm going actually tonight too. I go with local business owners. These 2 women I've met, a few friends of mine. We try different restaurants. And when we're in there, I take videos, I take pictures, I do the fake, like, ha, 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 we're having a good time kind of thing. But I actually have them all in my folders because, again, I'm trying to figure out where I want to put them. I'm batch creating. So I do have a little arsenal of videos from the brewery, from the brunch. I haven't put them out there yet because I'm trying to figure out exactly when to post it on. I didn't want to put too much out. You'll be like, oh, I'm going to your site and booking a tour. I'm like, I'm not ready yet. Like I'm afraid to put too much out. I've had one person call me and say, oh, can I blast this? I just found this. I'm like, no, not yet. Please just wait. I'm sorry. I know it's out there. I want you to book the tour. Just give me like a week. Okay. We just nail this down and yes. But yeah, no, I think that having the arsenal of videos, just especially social media, I know from running a different community page, the Child from Your Couch page with First Crush, that is just a whole nother job in itself. So with the Huntington page, it's so much easier because it is all just local stuff and it's just finding a new business and copy and pasting. But I love the ones I get to do a live video or I get to go inside the place and show them like I do on YouTube. But yeah, it's really good advice. I got to build a bigger arsenal. I got this.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing that takes time. And we just have to work it out. So I'm looking now at your Instagram, going local tours and experiences on Instagram. So, not bad. I mean, you've got quite a few good images on there and I can see it's growing. I like to see images and you do have a lot. You have everything from local artists to food. I like your food shots. Did you do those food shots yourself?
I did. I thought they were terrible. I'm not really good. I have a friend who does like backlighting for me and I'm like, thank God you have another cell phone. You can like backlight it because it looks so much better that way.
No, I mean, trust me, these are fine. This is what it is. You don't want it to be to look overly done.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's simple apps and things you can use. I mean, we taught you Snapseed on tour many times. Yeah. I mean, that just adds a bunch of color to photographs. So there's a lot of things you can do. But I mean, literally from your Instagram to your YouTube channel to your website, blown away. Lastly, before we go, I just want to talk about your website because a lot of entrepreneurs have the biggest issue with that. And I know that with First Crush, you guys had paid a lot of money.
Yep.
And during when you talked to our class about it, you kind of mentioned, I wish I had this knowledge before we did this. So this time you decided to do it yourself. What did you use? What was the process and how hard was it?
I use Wix. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to use, whether it was Wix or Squarespace or WordPress. I was kind of going between. And I'm like, let me just start with Wix. And Wix to me was super easy because once you get the hang of it, it's so easy. It's just time consuming. It's just figuring out what colors to go where, what design to use. But once you get it, I mean, I can blow through that thing in like 10 seconds and create a whole page in like a minute. I'm like, whatever.
Is it amazing?
It's amazing. And like people are like, well, you can't really customize it. I'm like, you can always find a way to make it work.
Always.
You just look for it. You got to find a way. You don't have to know how to code and all that crap. Like not for me. But also too, I love when Mitch said in the class about it's kind of like a blind date. You know, the first picture you see, be your best picture, get a little information. And like, I knew that when we built our website, but I didn't see it clearly until I heard it like that. So I mean, my website, it was so much easier to just kind of know what I took from First Crush and know what I took from the class and then know what I kind of created and then just kind of just started putting it together. And then once I got the homepage done, I was like, I could not be stopped. I was like, okay, about us. Okay, terms and conditions. Okay, this. Okay, further questions. And I just couldn't stop because I was excited because I knew how to do it. Like the homepage is really your biggest like pain in the ass, but leave your home, your hero picture, like whatever, make that your last step. Because with me, I needed that perfect picture and I kept getting stuck there. Get past that point, move past that, go to the mission statement or about us or whatever it is, showcase your tours, do what you have to do, but don't get stuck at that hero image. Just wait, it will come to you and it will get there. And you'll be like,
I mean, use a placeholder for those like spots.
I'm doing that right
now. Think about the
Yeah.
design of your page and the flow of your page and what you want to say. I find the content is the hardest.
It really is.
You have to fill so much space.
Yep.
And you have to
and you got to
think
say
everything
it.
through.
Yes. And make sure you're not leaving something out. Like I did editing the day for about 3 hours. I had a what to expect section and what's included section. And I put it in recently, but every day I'm like, I'll be driving. I'm like, oh shit, park an umbrella, you know, like, and I'll just think of stupid things that to plug in later on. But it's amazing how much information you have to get out and you want to make sure it's people want to read it. So I always try and walk away from it for like 4 days. And then I go back and I read it with fresh eyes. I read it out loud. So I hear someone else saying the words and I'm like, that sounds stupid. Or like, oh, that's funny. I like that. You know, like I think one of my
that's great advice.
Is like, it is. You have to walk away from your own words because you can send it to somebody else, but they don't know what you're trying to convey. They can tell you to say it like this, but they don't know that one word changes everything. Accommodate and assist are two totally different words. And they think if they're not in the industry, they don't understand what those two words mean. I'm like, no, I can accommodate you. I can assist you. It depends on what you want to do.
Right. Well, listen, you knocked it out of the park with this, and we are so excited to follow you on this journey and, be there for you with all your support you and back you up. You have a large TripSchool family who adores you. That's all going to be there for you. So, listen, thanks so much for taking some time to talk to me and help our entrepreneurs understand that it really isn't that hard.
It's not bad. You can
challenging.
Do it. You can totally do it.
Absolutely. It's challenging, but it's doable. And even though not everyone's a Melissa Farrell, because you blew us out of the water. I mean, you literally just did this. You literally just jumped on the bull and just wrote it as long as you could write it. And that no fear. Yeah. And that's what you got to do in this business.
Thank you so much, Say. I really appreciate that. Your wisdom and your words have been so helpful this entire time. And I love you guys. And I so appreciate you. And I'm glad to have you guys in my life.
We are always here for you. And we love you, darling. So thanks again. And guys, don't forget to visit Melissa's website. Her name of her company on her Instagram and all over her is Going Local Tours. And her website is goinglocaltours.com. And check out her YouTube channel also, which you can link to those sites from her website itself. So again, Melissa, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing how you grow.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.